I was on a plane to Australia a few years back, and I stopped off in Changi Airport in Singapore. There in the newsagents was a New Year copy of Time magazine. And on the front cover, a picture of our world taken from outer space with George Bush on one side, Tony Blair on the other, and then plastered right the way across the front of the globe, a great Band-Aid. This world needs saving. I'm recording this talk just at the close of the COP26 climate change conference, global warming. This world needs saving. Even as politicians fly home, I've just received my call-up for a COVID-19 booster jab. This world needs saving. So whether it's a global pandemic or global warming or threats to global security, there's no doubt that in every age, this world needs saving. And this makes the name given to the Lord Jesus so intriguing, because Jesus means God saves. It seems an extraordinary name, doesn't it? But did you notice that as the angel tells Mary that she is to give this child the name Jesus? The angel also tells Mary why he is to be given the name God saves. And the angel says, for he will save his people from their sin. So beyond climate change, greater than any pandemic, with more urgency than any threat to world peace, the thing that God considers we need saving from this Christmas is sin. Now, the trouble with a word like sin, especially at Christmas time, is we immediately think that sin refers to all the kind of naughty but nice things that we do. One too many mince pies on Christmas Eve, opening a Christmas present after everybody's gone to bed but before the great day's begun, spiking Father Christmas's mulled wine, a minor indiscretion at the Christmas party. But at its heart, sin is much, much bigger than little actions we do wrong. It has to do with a fundamental attitude. And sin is vertical, if I might put it like that, before it's horizontal. It has to do with God before it has to do with others. The first 4 commandments out of the 10 commandments, after all, are all to do with God and our relationship to him. And Jesus, when he asks, what is the greatest commandment, responds, the greatest commandment is this: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. So it is this attitude of rejection of God that we need saving from. For as I fail to surrender my life under God's rule, as I hold God at arm's length, as I live out my life without reference to God, moment by moment by moment, so a gulf develops between me and my Creator. If you like, a great cloud. And I'm left without God in this broken world. You shall give him the name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sin. I've got a friend who commanded his battalion in Helmand province during the Afghan war. And I remember interviewing him here at St. Helens. And he talked about what he called the dark side in every one of our lives. That aspect that, nobody really knows about, but all of us are very conscious of. The Swiss psychiatrist talks about this. While we are still young, he says, we can deceive ourselves that what we do makes up for what we do not do, and what we dream and hope for will make up for what's lacking. The more we advance in years, the more these mirages vanish, and we have to confess that we have deceived ourselves. And then the psychiatrist comes out on the threshold of maturity, then of old age. Terrible crises occur, which are the source of illness, as much psychological as physical. You shall give him the name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sin. Our sin creates a great gulf between us and our Creator, a great cloud. The relationship is damaged and needs restoration. And the reason Jesus came into this world was to save us from that broken relationship and all that flows out of it. You know, the Biden nominee for the Fed Office of Budget Management, Neera Tandy, when she was nominated, immediately deleted 1,000 tweets from her social media account. And ultimately, all of these kind of minor indiscretions, they're evidence of a much, much greater problem in our lives. A rejection of God, our Creator, a distance between us and God, the need for reconciliation, and the problem of living life in this world under the cloud of God's indignation, our failure to recognize our Creator. Now, we've not got time to go into this because we're just looking at the very early stages of Jesus Christ, his birth. But you know, his birth ends in his death, and his death takes place at a cross. And he dies on the cross in order to carry God's indignation at everything you've done wrong and everything that I've done wrong, and particularly in the area of day by day, by day, living out our lives without reference to our Creator. It's interesting, we see this emphasis on sin in pretty much every one of the favourite carols we sing. One of my favourite carols, O Little Town of Bethlehem. Remember that line? But in this world of sin, where meek souls will receive him, still the dear Christ enters in. Hark the Herald, another great favourite. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Or that song which kind of moves people to tears, Christmas after Christmas after Christmas, O holy night. Long lay the world in sin and error, pining, till he appeared. So here is the fundamental meaning of Christmas, wrapped up in just one name. You shall give him the name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sin. All of us have our own stories of salvation. You know, perhaps the most touching of all stories recently has been that rescue of the 4-year-old Cleo Smith, that Australian little girl who was discovered after days and days in the outback. And the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, reported as saying, the whole world breathed a sigh of relief. I did, and I'm sure you did, the idea of rescue. The coming of the Lord Jesus is God's rescue mission. He breaks into his world in the person of his only Son. He's come down on a rescue mission to die on a cross to save us from the consequences of our rejection of him. And this Christmas, perhaps more than any other, each one of us will be deeply conscious of the need of salvation, the need to be reunited with God our Creator is the greatest need of the world. Jesus saves us from our sin. Do you notice in that little sentence there's a challenge as well? He shall save his people from their sin. And that leaves us asking, am I one of his people? Do I belong to him? Am I one of his followers? Well, I wonder if in the coming months you might explore the message of Jesus Christ so that you can confirm for certain that you're one of his followers. And the Christianity Explored course that you'll see advertised is a great way to do that. I'd love you to sign up in the new year so that you can explore the Christian faith and ask yourself, well, look, am I one of his people? Am I one of his followers? Am I prepared, if you like, to sign in as one of his people and turn to follow him? If you do, you can be sure that you've been saved from everything that you've done to separate yourself from God. You can say you're one of his people, living life in relationship with him for now and eternity. May I wish you a very, very happy Christmas and a wonderful New Year.